quickly over what's happening right now with manufacturing. Today is October 14th, 2019, and I'm still working on the manufacturing part. It's probably one of the most tedious processes. It's constantly going back and forth with people we have on the ground in Thailand and China. It is down to the point where I wanted to make this product initially out of sugarcane bagasse, which here in a second I'm going to show you guys kind of what that looks like and kind of go through the manufacturing of that. But because of the way it is manufactured, it looks like it's becoming super difficult to get it made out of that product just because of the shape of the lid. So I'm working with a Chinese manufacturer right now that uses a PLA cornstarch plus straw synthesis. So it's basically has a look and feel of plastic, but it's 100% biodegradable. It's 100% compostable. It's got a 72-day time where it needs to be home compostable. So it still has all the same features of the sugarcane bagasse. It just has the look of plastic. So the only thing with the PLA cornstarch is it is not recyclable. But like in order for us to make this product, because of the molding, the cornstarch seems to be the best option. Now it's not recyclable yet, right? Like we're still getting to that point, but this whole thing is biodegradable and compostable, so it'll essentially be made and then it can go back into the earth and not hurt. It doesn't release any toxins. So it's still really, really great for the environment. Like remember, plastic never biodegrades. It continues to stay in anything. It never fully biodegrades. So getting us off of plastic into something like this is super beneficial. So PLA cornstarch with a straw synthesis is something that we're looking at right now just because of the lid design on my product. This is like FDA approved. This is BPI approved. So like it literally has all of the same elements that we want with sugarcane bagasse. It's just not made of sugarcane stock. It's made of cornstarch and straw. There's no toxins, no glue, no nothing. So real quick, I'm gonna show you kind of what happened. So if you take a look at this screen, you can kind of see the forming and how you would make a product out of sugarcane bagasse. So up on this top left here, you have a bottom layer that's full of sugarcane bagasse, and then you have something like stamps down onto it. If you look down at this photo here, you can kind of see these molds here at the top. Those are what are coming down and smashing into the actual sugarcane bagasse and creating that. Now in this whole process where it's doing the stamping, a lot of water is rushing in there and they're vacuuming out some of the loose particles and stuff. And this has to sit and then it goes into an oven and it heats and all of that. But once you are done, you kind of have something that looks like that. You can see kind of there where it's pressed in the interior. But if I scroll down here, you kind of see here, like there's the oven it goes into. There's kind of like a mold where it's kind of finished. I come back out here and go up here. You can kind of see here, like these are bases that are made from the sugarcane stamping down. More here, you can kind of see that. The problem is with the way my lid slides on and the contour of it, they can't basically do it and provide quality for mass number of units. So they could possibly do it for one or two. To get it, it'd be super expensive for me to do it that way. It would be super expensive and it would just be not feasible for mass production. So if I wanted to sell 5 of these things, then sure, I'd do it that way. I'm not looking to sell 5, I'm looking to sell 5 million. So I'll kind of explain what we're doing now and why we're switching up. So let's take a look at this. Now, I got this from the Chinese manufacturer. So it's basically a PowerPoint and it talks about tooling instructions and how the tooling is gonna go in and stuff like that. What they initially said was, it's very hard to make this indention over here on this lip. So if you guys remember, it's supposed to slide on and then there's a raised edge on the base and that raised edge like clicks in here. Because of the way the tooling has to be done in the machine, it can't do that. So they're recommending that there be a hole here in this red part, it's a hole that goes all the way through. So you'll still have this thing where it slides on and it locks in, but that raised edge will now go in this hole. I actually originally had it like this, but my main concern was the edge here possibly breaking off. But by not using the sugarcane bagasse and actually using the PLA cornstarch, it's more durable, so I'm actually not worried about this breakage anymore. The second feature is, as you guys can see, like this is the lid, this is sliding on. So they didn't like the exact angle that these were on. So if you get like a closer look here, this is the original angle, kind of extends pretty far. And then this is like the inside. They're wanting it to be a more sharper angle, I guess you could say. Not necessarily angled up, but more so like just flat, not angled. And then it's basically a little bit thicker. So they believe that with the locking mechanism and with the holes that they're still going to be able to put in the lid, so these holes here, they still can do that. They believe with that locking mechanism, the actual thing going in, they can make this super snug. They believe that it'll hold pretty well. So they're able to do basically this design for me to get it exactly the way I want it. I think that's the way I'm gonna go. But like I said, there's no point in doing this product if I can't make something that's A, better than the products out there, B, serves the purpose of getting rid of plastic, and C, offering it at a really good price. So those are my three main concerns. So I'm going back and forth with these guys now, trying to figure it out. And then I have to figure out total cost. That's another big thing. So there's soft tooling, which is basically developing a mold like I showed you earlier. It's developing one of those that's not like the full metal or aluminum mold or whatever we end up making the mold out of. It's almost like a plastic type mold, and that's why it's called like a soft tool. It's essentially for us to make a couple units of, but over time it's not durable enough to maintain its shape and integrity. So we're looking at possibly getting a soft tool made so that we can get an actual, prototype of this container so we can figure out if it's, something we really, really want. And then second is, after the soft tooling, we have to actually pay for those prototypes. And then the hard tooling, which is getting an actual hard metal mold type thing that'll actually work for this really well. So those costs do add up. I should have something by Friday that's going to tell me exactly how much and what that's going to look like. And then from there we'll go and we'll see. And maybe I do a sugarcane bagasse base and I do like this PLA plastic top. I don't want this thing to be stupid ugly though either, so I really care about the aesthetics and how it looks besides just how it functions. Other than that, it's really all I'm working on now. Once I have the prototype and stuff that I can put in, then I'm going to start my Kickstarter campaign, so you guys will start seeing stuff about that. But right now, I just have to figure out how much the soft tooling is going to cost. I actually want to get samples of this material, so that's another thing. I'm getting a couple samples of this actual material sent to my apartment so I can figure out how much this stuff, or actually what this stuff feels like. Other than that, the only other concerns I have about this are my patent. So with that hole being fully cut out now on the lid, that actually could affect my patent slightly. But it's not something that I'm like too concerned about because it doesn't necessarily mess with the utility and the function of it. But in order to cover my bases, I'll probably file a secondary patent that attaches to these that basically covers me either way. So more to come on all that. I'll let you guys know because it's Monday. I'll definitely know more by Friday, so I will talk to you then. Hey everyone, it's October 17th. Just want to give you an update on exactly what's going on. I had a phone call this morning with the guy we have on the ground in Thailand. We have basically come to the conclusion that you cannot make the lid out of sugarcane bagasse. So it's super frustrating because I should have known that before I got to the manufacturing process, but I guess that's what it kind of is, right? It's kind of a learning process. There's not really a way for us to make the grooves and for us to make it sliding with a plant fiber material alone. So, um, and we discovered this in China too. Same people came back with the same solution. So right now I am working with both of those companies to get quotes. So what I'm gonna do is the lid is now, it's gonna still be made of the plant fiber, but we have to put in a PLA cornstarch into the fiber. So by us adding the PLA cornstarch to the fiber, it's just giving it the flexibility to be able to be designed correctly. It's still can decompose in under 90 days. You can still put it in your backyard. It's overall going to be exactly the same quality as if we were just using the sugarcane bagasse alone. The reason I didn't want to do that is because I'm doing it this way. There's going to be a little bit different color as far as what the lid looks like and what the base looks like, but it still has that natural look. So it'll still be a light brown look. They'll just be two different colors, but I think that the end consumer is not necessarily going to care how stylish their container is, as long as it does the purposes and the needs that they need it to do. So it'll still be microwavable, freezable, and all of that stuff. So right now what I'm doing is I'm waiting to get quotes from both the Chinese factory and the factory in Thailand. They're gonna let me know exactly what to expect. I'm also getting samples sent in from the company in Thailand because I kind of like them a little bit more. So I just sent them a FedEx shipping number to get samples shipped to me so I can see the material and actually touch it and feel it. From there, once I get the cost from both companies, I'll see which one is the cheapest using the same standards, right? It'll be the same quality, same standards. From there, I'll make the decision on which one to go with. Normally, it's cheaper to ship out of China straight into the US because of something called an e-packet. However, that's starting to go away. China is becoming to the point where they're becoming a powerhouse to where they're not getting cheap prices like they used to. It used to be discounted essentially for them to ship from China to the US. So a lot of people took advantage of that extra cheap labor, cheap shipping costs, things like that. It's not like that as much anymore in China, and it's starting to get even worse. So Thailand is actually a pretty good spot now. All right, so let's take a look at some of these samples I got from China. They sent these to me. It took about 2 days to get here. What this is going to be is it's going to be some sugarcane bagasse samples and then some of the PLA plastic samples. So right here, these are the sugarcane bagasse samples. It's pretty good material. It's like thin, but you can change the thickness on that. But really good material, and it's actually, once you take all the juices out of sugarcane stalk, it actually turns the material white. So this is actually natural. This is no bleaching. This is nothing. This is literally what sugarcane looks like whenever there's no sugar and juice in it. But as you can see, there's the biodegradable, compostable, and the sugarcane bagasse. The other samples that we have are the PLA. Now this is, I'm not too excited about this stuff here. As you can see, it's kind of a harder plastic. Literally, this is cornstarch though that is mixed with the sugarcane bagasse. It's really hard to tell. This does biodegrade. It is compostable. I just don't like how, yeah. So you can see how brittle it is, but this is, like I said, shipped from China here. So, and you can make it more durable than that. Like I'm squeezing on this like really hard right now. Like there's nothing coming off. But I don't like how close it is to plastic. The average consumer in America is not going to know the difference. This is another like
phone case they make for a company. It's made out of the PLA. As you can see here, it's a lot more bendable and flexible and stuff like that. So this is more ideal because I think the consumer may understand this a little bit better. I mean, it's still going to take me some advertising dollars to make sure the customer understands that this will biodegrade, this will actually go back and turn into like carbon or whatever into the environment, and it actually won't hurt the environment. So this is a possibility. Like I said, I told you guys the issues already with just pure sugarcane. The design doesn't work with like trying to make it of this material by the way it's pressed and the way it's done. So because of that, I may have to go to an alternative like PLA, but I'm still in discussions with them. I actually was emailing them as of last night at 2 in the morning, trying to figure all that out. So more to come on that. As far as kind of what else is happening, the guy that we have on the ground in Thailand that's been working for us, he's kind of like on strike right now. The whole agreement that we had with him was he had to help us secure a manufacturer and then he'd get paid. He has yet to do that, and I still haven't even gotten samples from the manufacturer he did find, and he's requesting payment, some payment now. So he's basically requesting $1,000 to keep working on this. So still thinking about that, whether I want to just cut him out and just give him a little bit of money, but it's very hard for me to pay someone that has done some legwork, but they haven't really provided anything. So I'm going to work on that this week and hopefully have that figured out by Friday. So today is Wednesday. My goal is to have that done by Friday. So this has basically been part one of my manufacturing debacle. Part two, I'm going to release that in 2 weeks to kind of show you. Basically, I'll have everything nailed down. I'll know what manufacturing company I'm using and what product or what material exactly I'm using, and all of that will be squared away. As I've told you guys already, this process is super tedious. It's super hard going through intermediaries. It's hard when they don't speak the language. So that's the barrier I'm running into. Something else I've also done in the last week is I've reached out to Inventus Partners, one of the companies I was considering when I first thought about doing this project here in Charlotte. They're going to actually, I'm going to pay them a little finder's fee to help secure possibly manufacturing as well. So I'm attacking it from multiple angles, trying to figure out the best way to do this. The goal is not to throw a ton of money at this in the beginning, right? I want to have money to be able to spend on products, but you have to be able to get somewhere and it has to be viable. And I don't want to just create a plastic container or something that looks like plastic. I really want this company to kind of like change the way we look at our containers and things like that. So more to come. I'll release more and hopefully we'll have some good news on the second part of this. All right, everyone. See you next time.